everybody, Brian here with Trail Grid Pro. Super excited to be back with you guys because today we're going to be installing a Sony 8100 plug and play bundle and a 2007 Toyota Tundra. This Sony plug and play bundle is going to fit all 2007 to 2013 Tundras. All right, so let's talk about the features of the Sony 8100 plug and play bundle. First of all, it has a massive 8.95-inch capacitive touchscreen. You get Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. It's Sirius XM capable, and on top of that, you even have the ability to connect an HDMI device such as a Roku directly into the screen of your new head unit, so you can watch things like Netflix, Disney Plus, anything you can get on Roku, you can watch on the head unit in your truck. With this new bundle, you are definitely going to upgrade your 2007 to 2013 Tundra to today's technology. So let's go ahead and start with a disassembly so we can get this new bundle installed. Before we get started with the disassembly of the truck, let's go over a few tools that we're going to need to do this. The first is going to be some sort of panel removal tool. The second is a Phillips head screwdriver. And then the third is our trusty 10mm socket. If you don't have the power option, obviously the manual ratchet wrench will work just fine for that. The first thing we're going to want to do is focus on the cup holder area. So we're going to go ahead and remove the little trim piece here that covers the slot. And I'm going to go ahead and just pull straight up on the actual cup holder insert, and we'll get that out of the way. And then we're going to open up the center console here, and starting with our panel tool, you can see there's a kind of a gap here where the two panels come together. We're going to work our way under that and just kind of lift up. There's a couple of pop clips that hold all of this in. There we go. So once we get that loosened up, we're just going to pull it straight back towards us, and this is going to release the entire assembly. Moving to the shifter here, we got one Phillips head screw retainer clip that we need to remove. If you have a small flathead screwdriver or maybe a panel tool, it might come in handy here just to help lift up on that screw. All right, so we'll set that to the side. Next step is we're going to remove the shift knob. So just twist counterclockwise. After we remove the shift knob, at this point, it's going to be helpful. Go ahead and get your key. Put the truck in accessory mode. That way we can depress the brake and move the shifter down out of the way so that when we pull straight up, the shifter itself is not in the way. And then we have one connection here on the back. Go ahead and disconnect that, and we can place this out of the way. Go ahead and put our truck back in park and remove the key. Continuing up, we're going to pull on this portion of the dash. We're just going to loosen it out of the way, and then we're going to move to the little cubby area here. We're going to pull straight back like that, and then you're going to may have a couple of plugs back here, so we're going to go ahead and disconnect all of the connectors and move our cubby out of the way. Continuing further up, we have the heat and control panel. Again, just pull straight out towards you. And we're going to disconnect all of the plugs here on the back. We're almost there. We're going to grab our trusty 10mm. And there's going to be 4 10mm bolts here on the bottom of the radio. There's going to be the 2 in the middle are going to be closer to you, and then the 2 in the back are back there. So an extension is definitely going to be needed. We're going to set these to the side. All right, time to get this factory radio out. So we're just going to pull straight out towards us. And we're going to disconnect all of the connections on the back of the radio. All right, so here's the factory unit. It is completely removed. So the next thing that we're gonna do is we need to take it over to the bench, and the dash kit that you're gonna get with your new bundle does not have these little clips. So we need to get the clips off of here and transfer them to the new plug and play bundle. So let's go head over to the bench and we'll do that. Now that we have both of the units here on the bench, I have a couple little pick tools. Like I said, if you don't have these, don't worry, flathead screwdrivers will work. And try to put your thumb over it, because otherwise these do have a tendency to go flying across the garage. Just like that. We have our 3 clips off. We just need to install them on the new unit. The white one was in the middle, and the yellow ones were on the sides. This is all you need to do to transfer the parts from your factory unit to the new plug and play bundle. So at this point, we're ready to start the installation process. Before we start installing the new plug and play bundle, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to run the supplied Sony microphone. This is going to be needed to be able to use your Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, all of your hands-free, talking on the phone, all of those functions. We're also in the process of developing a Sony microphone mount so that we can retain the factory microphone location, which is in this truck is up here in the headliner console. Be looking for those if you've seen our videos with the 4Runner. Those clips have worked out great so far, so we're looking to expand, and we're going to get one for the Tundra as well. I'm going to reposition, and I'll show you guys how to remove the headliner console out of your Tundra. Looking at the headliner console here, we have the sunglasses compartment in the front, and then you have your interior dome lights in the rear. So there's a few places here that we need to gain access to, because there's 6 screws that hold this portion actually to the roof of the truck. So 2 of them are going to be in the sunglasses container area here in the front. The second 2, if you flip down the card slot, there's going to be 2 screws there. And then we're also going to need to take off the lens and the deflector plate for where the dome lights are to get to these screws there. So we're going to start in the back here with the lights. So using our panel tool, you can go in right here at the bottom and then just slowly pry the plastic lens out of the way, and that will come down. And then you'll see there's the metal deflector plate, diffuser plate for the lights. And same sort of idea. This is just pushed up in there, so you can just kind of work your panel tool around the edges. Just kind of gently pulling down. And then this will also come out of the way. So now that we have that off, we have our card slot open and the sunglasses holder open, we're going to grab our T20 hex or T20 Torx screwdriver, and we're going to start. Like I said, there's 2 screws in each compartment, and they are kind of small, so make sure we don't drop them. And moving to the back, these are actually going to be in the corners, in the very back corner. And on to the last screw. Now that we have all 6 of our screws out, you can see that the headliner console just drops down. And then there's one connection here up at the front that we need to disconnect the wire harness. Now we've freed up our headliner console. We'll go ahead and take this over to the bench, and I'll show you how to install the microphone in the microphone mount. Over on the bench here, we have our TrailGrid Pro Sony microphone mount, the provided Sony microphone itself, and then what we're going to be replacing is, you see this, follow this wiring harness here, and you see this little gray rectangular box here. This is the factory microphone. All we have to do to remove that is simply just pull it up out of the way, and then you'll see that there's one factory connector there on the back. Simply release it. We can tuck this wire down out of the way. We will no longer need that. And then we are going to include this with the customer's factory stuff to go home in case he needs it later. Installation of the microphone mount is as simple as taking the Sony microphone itself, and all you do with the TGP side up towards you, push it onto the edge of the microphone, and then we just want to make sure that the microphone's not really sticking out past the bottom edge of the mount, and we're going to place the mount directly in where the factory microphone came out of and just give it a firm push, and it is now mounted in place. So we can now take the headliner console assembly back into the truck and we'll start routing the microphone wire. So let's get started with putting the headliner console back into place. First step we're going to do is remove the twist tie from the Sony microphone, and we're going to straighten the wire out. Try to get all the little kinks, make sure we're not knotted up. It's not going to get caught on anything. And with the headliner console just resting on the center console, the first thing we're going to do is take the 3.5mm headphone jack here, and we're going to pass it through the front of the headliner towards the windshield. You have to pull down just a little bit, work it around the wires that go to your rear view mirror. All right, now that we have it through, we're gonna go ahead and pull most of the slack through. Again, just making sure that we don't have any kinks or knots. We're going to reorient the headliner console, and we're gonna make sure that we don't forget to put our connection back in here. So we're gonna snap that connector back into place, and we're gonna keep pulling until we get our headliner console in position. All right. Go ahead and open our compartments back up, and we're going to start with one hole in the back, just to make sure we get everything lined up. Sometimes the easiest way to tell is you can see the crease marks on your headliner fabric, and that will give you kind of an indication of where your headliner console sat before. Move to the front and try to line up one hole here. Now that the headliner console is fully supported, we can work on lining up and replacing the 4 remaining screws. And the last 2 in the card slot. Okay, we've connected all 6 of our screws, so now it's time to replace the diffuser plate on the lights. So that just lines up and just pushes back into place. And then we're going to replace our lens for our dome light. Work it around the button, and then that snaps right back into place. And then we'll give everything a quick test. All right, so that looks good. So we'll keep on to the next step, which is we're going to continue with the wire here that's by the mirror now. We're going to work it between the windshield and the headliner. And this is where, if you have your panel tool still, it comes in handy because you can kind of just push it work it into place until we get to the corner here. We're going to go ahead and open the door, and then we're going to work it behind the A-pillar, and then just reach up. We can pull the weather stripping off of the door. That'll give us a little bit more room to work with. So just pull it around like that, and then we can tuck all of this wire in. And as a side note, while we're doing this, if you've added the Sirius XM tuner, like this, actually this customer already has installed in his truck, you can do the similar fashion with the XM tuner antenna wire. In this case, we've run it up the console and then same sort of fashion along the headliner to the rear of the truck where the antenna is mounted. So now that we have our wire here for our microphone, we're gonna just work it down the back of the A-pillar and pull out more of the weather stripping. And we'll move the camera around to give you a little bit better view of what we're going to do with this side. So right now we have our wire run here to the A-pillar and kind of the corner of the dash. So the next thing we're going to do is work it down the side here, and then we're going to run it under the dash and then up through the back of the console area so that we can get that 3.5mm jack to the back of the radio where we need it. So to do that, we're going to remove some more of the weather molding here. We'll grab our wire, and then kind of as we run this down, we'll reinstall some of the weather stripping so that it holds the wire in place. Now what I actually like to do, we're going to go ahead and remove these aftermarket floor mats. And then I'm going to remove the door sill here by just reaching in and pulling up. If you just lift up, that will come out of the way. And on the inside, there is a kind of where your foot rests. There is a little black retaining nut. Remove that. And then the rest of this panel, if you just push it towards the emergency brake pedal there, then that will come out as well. We'll set that out of the way. And then we'll grab our 10mm socket. And you'll see there's this grounding screw. We're not going to remove that one, but there's a 10mm right above that. We're going to go ahead and pull that out real quick. And what that gives us the ability to do, and you can see there's other wires here that are run as well, is now we can work microphone wire behind, and then all we got to do is put back our 10mm. And then we can tuck in the rest of our microphone wire. And now that is nice and hidden out of the way. And we have enough wire where we can run it through, and then I'll show you from the other side how we work it through to the back of the radio. So we found a hole here in the bottom of the dash that looks like it goes all the way through to the driver footwell. So we went ahead and put our wire fish through there, and we're gonna hook the 3.5mm jack to the end of the wire fish. If you're using a coat hanger, some electrical tape or some sort of tape, anything to hold it to the end of your coat hanger will work just fine. And now we're just gonna slowly pull it back through. All right, here's our wire. Go ahead and unhook that. And then we can pull the rest of our slack. And then we just need to route this up. You just kind of find a space here. All right. We've run the wire through, and now we have our jack right here with all of the other plugs that we're going to connect. The other wire that we need to run from the driver footwell up behind the dash is this Obd2 connection. This is going to assist in activating your reverse camera signal. So you see we have one small side and the large side. This is the side that's going to plug into the Obd2 port, which is located directly, if you follow your steering column and go directly down, you'll see a plug that matches that. So we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to find the same spot. We're going to put our wire fish back through, and we're going to hook the small end of the Obd2 port and gently work that back through. There we go. We'll go ahead and plug this into the Obd2 port. And that way we can pull all of our excess wire. And we'll route this up behind the head unit as well. Now we have all of the connections here behind that we need, so let's go ahead and get this head unit installed. So when you receive your Sony 8100 bundle, it will already come preloaded in here. We've already swapped our clips over, so now we are ready to install. The first thing we're going to connect is our Obd2 port. And if you look right here on the side of the harness, you'll see a couple of wires that look exactly like it. It may be connected, just pull, and then we're going to take our Obd2 port that we ran and just simply click it into place. Go ahead and attach our Sony microphone wire. If you look at the back of the radio, you'll see there's already a 3.5mm jack plugged in there. So the microphone is going to go right above it in the red slot. It's also labeled mic on the back of the radio. And for this application, we'll be using connectors 1 and 3. Go ahead and pull those out of the way. And then we're just matching plugs here. So you see that one firmly snaps into place. Find our other connector. This would be number 3. Give it a snap. And then our harness here, this one's labeled Toy Cam 2. This is your reverse camera, and you'll find the plug here. So again, we're just matching that side of the connection. So one special note on this reverse camera harness: if your Tundra was equipped with a reverse camera that displayed in the head unit like this one was, then you will have this harness. If your Tundra did not come factory with a reverse camera, or your reverse camera shows in the mirror, you will not have this harness. The trucks that have the reverse camera in the mirror, that will be retained in the new setup. So let's go ahead and continue with this installation. So you'll see there's a male and a female RCA that come off of this harness. We're gonna connect the male into the yellow RCA slot here for the reverse camera. For our USB connection, this customer actually already had an aftermarket front-facing USB adapter installed in his truck. So we're gonna go ahead and reuse that. However, your truck should not have a front-facing USB. So we'll be sending you a USB adapter that will take place of your 12-volt auxiliary power supply that you do have in your cubby area. Here's a little segment in a video showing you how to install the USB adapter. All right, so we brought our little cubby section here back over to the bench, and we're gonna go ahead and I'll open up the kit. You can see here the USBDMA6 is a 6-foot dash mount adapter cable. So in the kit, find a little bag of screws, put those to the side. We're going to find this little mount. We're not going to use that, put that to the side. But what we do want is the 6-foot cable itself. And where we're going to place this is right here behind the 12-volt, 120 watt, where normally this power outlet would go. We're going to remove that and place the USB cable in there in its place. And the nice thing about that is you can plug your phone right in there. If you're not using it, simply close the door and it hides away. Factory clean install look. All right, so the whole reason we're taking these extra steps in this 2012 is so that when the customer has their phone plugged in here through their charging cord, you're going to activate your Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, and you're also simultaneously charging your phone. So there's no more need to worry about your phone dying on a trip. Simply plug it right into your truck and you're good to go. All right, so let's get started. So what we're gonna do is we actually need to remove this part with the plug on it. We're no longer gonna utilize that. So if you look down in here, it's kind of hard to see, but you'll see there's a little hole in the silver part and there's a black retaining clip in there. We're gonna take our screwdriver and we're gonna push in, and usually the little tab will break off. So don't worry, there it goes. So now that that little retaining tab is gone, you can see this part now freely moves, and we're gonna pull that out and we're gonna set that to the side. That's no longer being utilized. Undo the twist tie on our cord. Usually set these to the side and hang on to them. And then our cord is gonna just push it through and pull the slack. So if we straighten it out. All right. All right, so we have all of our slack pulled through the back here. And then you can see our USB. So one thing to note, the USB adapter is just a little bit smaller than the opening that we just created. So if you have super glue or crazy glue or something like Gorilla Glue, whatever it may be, you can use that. What we're going to use is actually Tessa tape. You could also probably use electrical tape. And then what we're going to do is put a couple of wraps around. All right, so once we have our tape, we're going to line it up, make sure it's nice and level, and then give it a good firm push. All right, a wiggle test. See, that's not going anywhere. And then, like I said, the nice thing is, close the door. It's a nice, clean factory look. Continuing with our install of this 8100 bundle, the factory antenna will go right here in the bottom right-hand side of the head unit. So now we have everything connected. We're going to work all of our wires into the dash. Working all of our wires back in. We're going to line up the 3 tabs at the top. All right, get this nice and seated. Everything's in place. We're going to use 2 of the 4 original 10mm bolts. They're going to go right here in the front. Line, there's little locating pins. We're going to line those up and start the bolts. Make sure you keep the other 2 10mm bolts just in case. Might need them later. All right, those are nice and snug. So we're going to grab the control module for the heating and air conditioning. And go ahead and make all of our connections. And we're going to work this behind the dash trim here. And then just push that back into place. And now we can put our dash all right. Next, we're going to grab our cubby here and go ahead and make the connections for it. Line this up. And you heard that snapped right back into place. To get this next piece in, we're going to go ahead and put the vehicle and accessory power. Move our shifter again, make the 1 connection here. If you have other stuff in the blanks here, make sure you make all of those connections as well. Slide our trim piece back into place. You'll know that's right back where it needs to be when the 1 Phillips head that we removed gets lined up. Now that we have the shifter console on there, don't forget about your little Phillips head guy that goes right here. Let's push that into place. And we can go ahead and reinstall the shift knob. All right, we'll reach in the back seat and grab the rest of our cup holder assembly. Remember, this has got to slide forward into place, and then we can push it down. Can't forget the actual cup holders and our cover plate. We're going to go ahead and turn the unit on. See safety message pop up there. We'll hit close. All right, excellent. We got power up. Go to the radio real quick. Radio comes up. Go ahead and utilize the USB port that we connected that the customer already had installed. And let's connect my phone real quick. We're going to change to CarPlay. You see here Pandora pulled up. Check the volume control real quick. Steering wheel volume control works. Go back to the home screen. Excellent. Looks like everything is working as it should. All right, everybody, that wraps up the install of our brand new Sony 8100 plug and play bundle. If you want to pick one of these up for your 2007 to 2013 Toyota Tundra, go ahead and head over to the shop at www.trailgridpro.com. And as always, have a blast out there.